Welcome back, everyone, to the Fantasy Forecast Fast Lane Show. Today, it is all about Darlington. Now, the good news is about Darlington. We've already had 2 races at Darlington this season. So, we've got numbers, and numbers are very important. If this is the first time you've ever tuned into our show, what I do is I take the numbers from the last 3 races and also the all-time stats at Darlington for each race car driver, and we combine those stats, and I come up with this nice little formula to come up with the best plays for DFS. It is a proven formula, and we've got people that have been tuning in every week that can testify that this works. Now, NASCAR is somewhat unpredictable in wrecks or blown tires or a bad pit stop, but for the most part, using the stats that I have, I've been able to pretty accurately predict what's going to happen. I know I've been making money playing NASCAR. Several of you guys have been making money playing NASCAR. So if you're tuning in for the first time, you're in luck, because hopefully now you're going to be making some money on NASCAR. It's totally free. This is premium content that I'm pumping out for you guys for free. So help me out. Hit that subscribe button right up there at the top, and I'll keep pumping these out every week. So, Darlington, this is the first week in the playoffs, and our number 1 play for today is a guy who is not in the playoffs, and that is Mr. Eric Jones. His DraftKings price is $9,600. He is starting way back in the 30th place position. His last 2 races here, which were this year, back in May, he finished 5th and 8th. And then last year, in 2019, he finished 1st. He has an average finish of 5.4. He's got that 1 win, top 5, finishing in the top 5 60% of the time. That's awesome. Top 10 is 100% of the time. And it's out of 5 races, no DNFs. His stats are astronomical. This is his best track. I am definitely loading up on some Eric Jones today. Now, I will say this. I've said this in the past. Never go 100% on any driver. Anything can happen. So if you're making 5 lineups, do not put Eric Jones in 5 lineups. Now, I may have him in 4 out of those 5, but I'm not going to go 100%. Now, number 2, and our least expensive guy in the top 5, and for those who are just tuning in, my top 5 are in blue. Brad Keselowski comes in at number 2 at $8,800. He is starting in the 5th position. Last 2 races, he finished 4th, 13th, and then last year he finished 5th. Has an average finish of 10.38. Finishing in the top 5, 38% of the time. That's okay. Still in the blue for that. Top 10% is 54. Top 20% is 92%. So he does rank as my 2nd highest ranked driver. So I do like some Keselowski today. Then we get to Kyle Busch. This is a Kyle Busch track. And remember, I just already said it several times. They've already raced here twice this year. So where Kyle Busch has really struggled on not having practice before the races, he has 2 races under his belt in this year's car. So I do like some Kyle Busch, especially since he's starting in the 15th position. He's $10,000 on DraftKings. The last 2 races here, he finished 2nd in the 2nd race and 26th in the 1st. So you can see he got better from the 1st race to the 2nd. Last year, he finished 3rd, and he led the most laps with 118 laps led. He's got an average finish of 11.41, and all his other stats look fantastic. Love some Kyle Busch today. He is my pick to win the race. Yes, Kyle Busch is going to get his first win of the season today in the first playoff race. Kyle Busch, he's your dude to win. Denny Hamlin at 11,400, starting in 2nd position. Now, Denny grades out very well here. But the thing that scares me is he's starting in second. Now, this is Darlington. Darlington is a racetrack that is somewhat hard to pass. And Denny Hamlin has been super strong, so I don't mind the play. He is very expensive. And there's the upside is he can win the race. The downside is he's only going to move up one differential point for you, and that's it. And you run the risk of him wrecking, blowing a tire, anything of that nature, and then him dropping back, and he has totally killed your lineup because you're going to get negative points. For 50-50s, I may leave him alone. For GBPs, sure, fire him up. Last race, he finished first. Then the second, or the last race here, finished first. In the race before that, he finished fifth. Then last year, he had a 29th position, but he's got an average finish of 7.19. He's got 3 wins here. So he can definitely get up there and win the race without a doubt. Then we got Kevin Harvick. I like Kevin Harvick a little bit better. Now they grade out exactly the same as Denny Hamlin and Kevin Harvick. We're doing my formula. They both graded out at 21, so they're tied. Kevin Harvick's a little cheaper at 10,900, and he's starting a little bit further back in 8th place. They kind of swapped the last 2 races where Denny Hamlin won the second race. Kevin Harvick won the first race. And in the first race, Kevin Harvick, he led 159 laps. So it was a huge dominator to that race. So I'm definitely liking some Kevin Harvick here. I would have in pretty much every lineup at least one of Kevin Harvick or Denny Hamlin. More of Kevin Harvick because he's cheaper. There's a little more upside there since he's starting in 8th position. But definitely a good play. So those are my top 5 right there in blue. Eric Jones, Keselowski, Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, Kevin Harvick. Those are my top 5 drivers. Now, moving down to the green. So the green are still good. That's what green means. We've got Jimmy Johnson at 8,400 on DraftKings. He's starting in the 22nd position, so he's got some room to move up. Last race here, he finished 8th. Then he's got a 38th position, which he ended up, I think he wrecked. But if I remember correctly, he was running up. He may have been leading the race when he wrecked. I can't remember. But not a bad racetrack for Jimmy. He's got an average finish of 13.04. He's got 3 wins here, but remember, Jimmy's been racing forever, so take that with a grain of salt, I guess. But 3 wins are still 3 wins, and that's tied for the most of any active driver right now. So he does know how to get around this place, and he's cheap enough, and he's starting far enough back that he is a safe play. So I do like some Jimmy Johnson. Then we get Martin Truex Jr. at 9,400, starting in the 6th position. Kind of meh on that. He's got an average finish of 11.13, which is good. He's got 1 win. I mean, Truex is a great driver. He can get up there. He can win the race. But let's just look at the recent stats. So last race finished 14th. Race before that, 15th. Race before that, 23rd. These are races at Darlington, that is. So his. Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. I was looking at Ryan Newman. Martin Truex. Okay. Martin Truex, his last race here was 10th, then a 6th place finish, then a 15th place finish. So I'm still a little meh on Truex just because of where he's starting and his recent finishes here. Doesn't look like there's a whole lot of upside. He's got 1 win, but I think we can find better value elsewhere. But still, he's not a bad play. Then we get to Newman. I'm sorry. I started saying Newman's stats for Truex. I do apologize for that. Newman's starting in the 31st position, so he's back there with all the crap cars. He's only 7,200. Now, his last finish here was 14th. Then he's got a 15th, then a 23rd. All of those finishes, if he finishes anywhere in that range and starting 31st, He is getting you differential points, which is good. You want that. He has an average finish of 12.74 here. That is a start finish difference of 18.26. So if he could get up to the 13th position or 12th position where his average finish is, you are golden. Now, am I expecting him to get up that high? Probably not. So tamper your expectations, but I do like some Newman for his finishing in the top 5. He finishes in the 30th percent of the time in the top 5. Top 10, 57%. Top 20, 78%. I like those percents. Right? The numbers usually don't lie. That's what I'm trying to tell you guys. The numbers usually don't lie. Um, and that's all we can go by. We don't have practices. We can see who's the fastest in practice. We don't have any of that. We don't even have an actual qualifying. So we have to go by what the numbers tell us. And this is what the numbers are telling us. The numbers are saying Newman's a great play. So then we get to Kurt Busch at 9,000. He's starting in the 16th position. He has an average finish of 15.88. Not one of his best tracks. He has, last year he led 94 laps, finished 7th. He's got a 3rd place finish this year and a 15th. So you could do worse than Kurt Busch for 9,000. He's probably priced about right. I wish he was a little bit cheaper. If he was cheaper, I would definitely be all on it. But for the price, I'm not going to have a lot of Kurt Busch, but I'll have some. Then Tyler Reddick. Now we get to some rookies. They've got experience here. They've got at least the 2 races that we had earlier in the year in May. So Tyler Reddick is at 7,000, starting 24th. His 2 races here, he finished 13th and 7th. So he has an average finish of 10th, which is 14 differential points from where he is starting. Do like some Tyler Reddick today. I will be playing some Tyler Reddick. Matt Kenseth, 6,500, starting 26. I say it every week. Don't really know what to do with Kenseth right now. His last race here, he finished 30th, but race before that, he finished 10th. His all-time stats, he has an average finish of 9.89 with 1 win. So he knows how to get around Darlington. So do we look at him with this team and know that he's got 2 races with this team that they can get this car right for Kenseth? That's the question. If you feel like they can get the car right for Kenseth, since he's already had 2 races here with this team, play him. If you want to play it safe and be like, I don't know, pump the brakes a little bit, don't play Kenseth, but maybe sprinkle him in somewhere. Don't go crazy, but I'll have some Kenseth. I'm not going to go crazy on it. But if you look at all-time stats, he's a great play. If you just look at the races this year, it's scary. It's scary to play Kenseth. All right, Joey Logano, 9,800, starting in the 13th position. Joey Logano has an average finish of 15.77. Oh, and you know what? Let me back up to Kenseth. I read the wrong thing. He has an average finish of 16.11. I was looking at 9.89 at start finish difference. Sorry, guys, it's still early in the morning. Matt Kenseth has an average finish of 16.11. So he does have potential to still move up, but still on Matt Kenseth. Joey Logano, average finish 15.77. He can get up there. I don't mind it. He's under 10K. Last race here, he finished 6th. Then he's got an 18th place finish and then a 14th place finish. Don't hate it. I've got some Joey Logano on some lineups that I've already made last night. Ty Dillon coming in at a value play at 6,000. He's starting in a 25th position. Finished here 19th, 19th, and 20th in the last 3 races, an average finish of 18.4. So he can definitely move up, get you some points that way. He's not going to win the race, but at 6,000, it's a good value play that he's just going to move up positions and get you points. He's not going to kill your lineup. Austin Dillon, 8,600, starting in the 12th position. A little expensive for Austin Dillon. He's got 20th place finish, 11th, 10th, average finish of 13.25. That's pretty good. As far as top 5, 13% of the time, top 10, 25%, top 20, 88%, but he's starting in the 12th position. I won't have a lot of Austin Dillon. If he was starting back in 18th or further back, I would have more, but that's just not the case. Alex Bowman, 7,900, starting in the 4th position. Probably not going to have a lot of Alex Bowman, even though, let's see, last race finished 18th. Then the race before that, he started 2nd, finished 2nd, led 41 laps, but he has an average finish of 19th. It's not terrible, but starting 4th, I don't know. I could have some shares at 7,900. I just don't see him staying there. There's going to be too many good cars right up there at the front that's probably going to pass Alex Bowman. Christopher Bell, starting 21st at 6,900. He finished 11th and 24th. So that gives him an average finish of 17.5. I can get behind some Christopher Bell at 6,900, starting in the 21st position. Definitely. Sign me up for that. Chase Elliott, 10,600. Your pole sitter, starting in the 1st position. He's got last finish 38th, then a 4th place finish, then a 19th. Average finish 18.29. Top 5, 29% of the time. Top 10, 43%. Top 20, 71%. But then if you look over his DNF, he's had 2 DNFs out of 7 races, which is at 29%. So that's in the red right there. I probably will have 0 shares of Chase Elliott. I can't pull that trigger on him starting first. If Kevin Harvick or Denny Hamlin were starting first, I could have some shares. Chase Elliott, I just don't see it for 10,600. I'd much rather pay $300 more for Kevin Harvick, and I doubt you're going to be able to do both. There's just not enough value there to really get both of those in. So, Chris Buescher, 5,700. Now, here's our value play. Starting 20th. Now, last 3 races, finished 23rd, 32nd, and 12th. Average finish of 19th. So, he's got an average finish about where he is starting. But Chris Buescher has been running well the past few races. It's looking sporty. And 5,700, he is cheap enough. He's down there with the scraps. I could see some potential there for Chris Buescher. So I will be firing him up in some lineups, especially some GPPs. Eric Almirola, 8,300. He has not been running well of late, starting in the 10th position, but last 3 races, 7th, 12th, 17th, an average finish of 17.6. He's got 1 top 10, 0 top 5s, and 8 top 20s out of 10 races, just 1 DNF. I'm not big on Eric Almirola. He could finish right about where he starts, which would be fine. That would be good for your lineup if he had a 10th place finish. But I'm not a big fan of Eric Almirola today. Daniel Suarez. Well, we do have some races here with him with his crappy equipment. So let's take a look. He's only 5,800. He's starting 28th. So last race here in his crappy equipment, he finished 27th. He did lead one lap. Then the race before that, he finished 25th. So that's in the crappy equipment. When he finished 25th, he started in the 37th position, so he moved up a little bit. So chances are Daniel Suarez is probably going to finish about where he is starting, which is 28th. And now I would much rather be paying for Chris Buescher, which is $100 cheaper, and playing him in much better equipment than Daniel Suarez. So Chris Buescher would be a better play there. But Suarez is not terrible. He could move up a little bit, but chances are he's going to finish right about 28th. Not going to be your GPP winner. So use him with caution. Clint Boyer at 8,100. Kind of a value for Clint Boyer from where his normal price tag is. He's starting in the 9th position, so I'm not a big fan of that, especially since he's been finishing where he has. Now, last race here, he finished 22nd. He started 4th, but he led 71 laps, so he was racing. Then he's got a 17th place finish after starting 13th. He's got a 6th place finish where he also led a lap. His average finish is 21.31. He's got 0 top 5s, only 2 top 10s, 8 top 20s. He's led 88 laps in 16 races here. He also has 4 DNFs, which that's in yellow right there. Use caution. That's at 25% on DNFs. If you don't know what DNF is did not finish. Then we get to our yellow guys. These yellow guys, we use caution. Ross Chastain, 5,600, starting in the 34th position. He's got an average finish of 28. I don't hate it, especially starting in the 34th position. He might move up 4 or 5 spots. But again, for that price, I'd rather go up to Chris Buescher. Then we get Bubba Wallace, 6,700, starting in the 17th position. Not really a Bubba racetrack for him. He's got an average finish of 21.75. Bubba's been running well lately, but I don't know. It's going to be tough to pull that trigger on Bubba today. Then Ryan Blaney, 10,300, one of our expensive guys that are on the board today that is going to be a fade for me. Fading Ryan Blaney. And it's always scared to fade somebody that is as good as Blaney is, but I am fading him. He's starting in the 7th position, but last race, finished 21st. Race before that, 16th. Race before that, 13th. Average finish, 19.86. 0 top 5s, 0 top 10s, 4 top 20s out of 7 races. Now, if I just told you those stats without saying it's Ryan Blaney's name, you'd be like, nope. But the Blaney name, he does have some excellent stats at other racetracks. This is not one of them. Fade Ryan Blaney. Now, does that mean that he's definitely not going to get up there and win the race? No, that's not what that means. He's a great race car driver. At some point, he's going to figure out Darlington. I'm just not going to be the one that's going to be on him when he figures it out, because the stats are telling me, the numbers right there, they're telling me do not play Blaney. So I'm going to trust the numbers. I'm not going to play Blaney. John Hunter Nemechek, 6,200, starting 18th. Last race here, finished 35th. I think he's got a 9th place finish, average finish of 22nd. If you want to play him, you can play him. He's kind of mad. He's probably going to finish right about where he is. I don't see him moving up any. Maybe move down to like 20th, but that's John Hunter Nemechek. He doesn't have the best equipment. He's a great young driver. He's a rookie driver. If he was in, say, Joe Gibbs equipment or Stuart Haas equipment, this dude would be right up there, up at the front week after week. But he doesn't have that backing right now. Hopefully he will soon. Who knows? Matty D, 7,400. He is like a sentimental favorite, driving the number 21 Wood Brothers car. He's starting 11th. Not a bad racetrack for Matty D. Finished 9th, 14th, and 8th. He's got an average finish of 21st, but some of that average comes when he was in a lot lesser equipment than what he's in now. So I don't see him staying up there at 11th. I see Matty D probably falling back to about 15th, which is not going to kill your lineup, but it's not going to win you a GPP either. So use him with caution. Then we get to Ryan Preece. Ryan Preece at 5,900, starting way back in the 35th position. Yeah, last race here he wrecked 39th after starting on the pole position. So if you played him that day, he killed your lineup. Hopefully he didn't when he was starting on the pole position, but he's not starting on the pole position. He's starting 35th. Even if he wrecks out on the first lap, you're not going to be losing a ton of points there because the point differential going backwards is not going to be that great because there's a floor there. And he's got a pretty high ceiling. Ryan Preece could definitely get up there and finish in the top 20 because he does have a 20th place position and a 22nd average finish, 27th. He's got just one top 20 here out of 3 races and just a 1 DNF. So 1 out of 3 races, which, since he only has 3 races, that's at 33% DNF, but it's only 1 wreck. I can definitely get behind some Ryan Preece today for his price. Now we get to my dude. Let's move down a little bit here, give you guys a better view. We got Ricky Stenhouse Jr. I'm usually all over Ricky Stenhouse, as you guys know. I'm not playing him today. He's going to be a fade for me. Well, I won't say a total fade. He is way too daggum expensive at 9,200. I like targeting Stenhouse when he's 8K or below. This is not a Stenhouse track. His stats here, he's starting 29th at 9, and he's at 9,200, which at first glance you're like, okay, Stenhouse starting further back. Dude can drive up the field, most definitely. He is fearless. That can get him in trouble sometimes. But look at his finishes. He's got a 25th, 40th, 33rd, average finish of 25.89. There's no upside to that, really. I mean, yeah, he's starting 29th in his Stenhouse. He could definitely move up to the front. But he's just too daggum expensive. I want somebody that's more reliable. For that price, I want somebody that I know with 95% surety that they're going to finish in the top 20. I don't have that with Stenhouse, not with what the numbers are telling me. So use him with caution. And if you can make it work, maybe, but I just don't see it with Stenhouse today. I'm not going to be on Stenhouse. JJ Yeley, 5,200, starting 37th. I'm not going to play Yeley. There's no upside. Balicki, no upside. James Davison, he's the one guy that doesn't have any races at Darlington under his belt. Not using him at all. Corey LaJoy, 5,500. Yeah, maybe. He doesn't have good stats here either, but he's a lot cheaper. I mean, his stats are comparable to Ricky Stenhouse, and he's almost $4,000 cheaper. So I'd probably rather, if there were no price, I would play Ricky Stenhouse over Corey LaJoy. For the price, I'd play LaJoy over Stenhouse. Then we get to the guys that you're not playing. Joey Gase, nope. And look at this. William Byron, a big name that I have right here in the red. 7,800, starting in the 3rd position. He won last week at Daytona. He's got a 12th place finish, then a 35th, and then he's got 21st average finish, 25.75. No. Fade Byron. Do not play the guy. Quinn Hoff, not playing him. Cole Custer, another rookie. But last two races here, finished 31st, 22nd, starting in the 14th position. Stay away from Cole Custer today. Brendan Poole, staying away from him. Michael McDowell, starting in the 19th position. He's got an average finish of 29.7. Last race, finished 17th. Race before that, 23rd. Then he's got a 38th place finish. I'm not playing Michael McDowell. You're not playing Timmy Hill. Reed Sorensen's out. So that's going to do it for our show. You guys, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. I'm going to keep pumping this content out for you guys as long as you guys keep watching and this show keeps growing. Share it. Please share it. I want this show to grow and I want my company to grow. I want to get more content out there. Football's about to start up. Going to have some football content. I've got my season-long draft today, so I'll let you guys know how that goes. You guys stay safe and stay cashing.